What you've been feeling in the last week is what it feels like to be stretched. Not so much stretched in your capacity, not so much stretched with your patience, but actually being stretched because you've been sitting in the overlay between two paradigms. Now you've experienced this on and off in the last 4 or 5 years on the planet, but this last week has been particularly interesting for you because it's the first time that the two paradigms have come so close to each other. It's been really like living in two worlds simultaneously. The difficulty for you is, and has been, sitting in the density while you're sitting in your awareness as well. Now you may say unto us, well actually sitting in the density while I'm sitting in my awareness is wonderful, because at least while I'm feeling it, I can be aware of what it is that I'm feeling. As long as I'm feeling the fear but I have awareness of it, it's absolutely fine for me. Except what's been happening for you is that your body is feeling it. Your mind is feeling it. Your emotions are feeling it. And when those three things are all feeling the density of the old paradigm, what's left? What's left is your awareness, but what is your awareness without these three components? So this last week has been the week where you're really having to get clear that there's another type of awareness that you have that doesn't get translated through the body, that doesn't get translated through the emotions, that doesn't get translated through the mind. And it was an interesting week to see if it was actually able to have a voice at all. It's that little voice that says, well, it's all crazy, none of it makes any sense. The world's turning to a word we would prefer not to use in this context. But somewhere in there, it feels all right. Somewhere in there, there's calm. Somewhere in there, there's consistency. So this week for you, you are very much thrust back into the old paradigm. Why would this be occurring? One explanation is that the old paradigm is getting ready to cross over into the new, and it's getting very, very close now. Because when you originally begin your spiritual journeys, as you like to call it, part of the incentive for you is to be moving away from that which you no longer wish to be engaged with. Agree? Moving away from negativity, moving away from pain, moving away from confusion and ignorance. And so when all of this starts to come your way, it's so typical for the human to think, well, I'm going backwards. I've lost it. I'm back in the old. How is it that I've ended up here again? And yet what's really happening is that you've been holding your light so well in the new paradigm and the new energy that now all of the old is starting to cross over with you. When the critical mass of humanity starts to shift into fifth dimensional reality, the rest of the third eventually has to fold over and collapse in on itself. It's a little bit like the peak of the wave. Yes? It's coming, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming, and it seems to loom over you and you're absolutely terrified because it's what you were actually trying to get away from. And yet when it crashes down on top of you, you find that it all beautifully blends into one sea of consciousness. And this is what the last week on the planet has been about. So get ready. Because you're going to find that in the next 4 to 6 weeks, things are really going to start taking off for you. This is when acceleration starts to become a part of your everyday life again. This is when movement starts occurring again. This is where it's less about resistance and more about flow. This is when it's less about trying to get away from things and more about what is it that I can move towards. So the difficulties you've been experiencing the last week is really been a renaissance for your body, mind, and emotions because they've been very intensely aware of what it is that's catching up with you. And what's catching up with you is what you thought you'd left behind. Because you can't separate yourself out from what you used to be. You can't separate yourself out from who you used to be. You've got to bring it all with you. It's all catching up with you. So welcome it with open arms. Say, hello old friend, I remember you. You used to be quite neurotic. I remember you were quite obsessive at one point. and you thought you were the loneliest person in the world, and you were very difficult to please, all of those things. It's all flowing right towards you now, and this is your chance to say, come with me. We're moving into something new. Because you don't want to leave any of that behind. You leave it behind, you don't cross over in your own completion, do you see? You can't just take some of yourself over into the new energy. We want all of you. We want every aspect of you. We want you in your completion on the new planet. So if you've had a difficult week, just ask this one. If some of your neuroses have come up, just ask this one. If you feel as if you've reverted back to old behaviours, old fears, old patterns, just know that it's catching up with you so that you can cross over with it. Do you see? So it's really not about feeling ashamed. It's not about feeling disappointed in yourself. It's about celebrating that, oh, this is ready to catch up with me now. It can't exist in its own right anymore. It can only exist as a part of the whole. And in wholeness, there is nothing that you want to leave behind. All right, blessed ones? Those of you who know me know that I like mountains very much. And those of you who know some of my story know that I've spent many years up the mountain. And that in essence, the philosophy behind this kind of life, this kind of existence, is really about leaving behind aspects of humanity that you don't want to be engaged with anymore. Leaving behind the illusion, leaving behind humanity, leaving behind everything that you believe keeps you anchored in ignorance. And so it was the way during one of my recent experiences on the planet where the philosophy was, if you leave behind the people and you go up the mountain, you in essence separate yourself out. Because you get to leave behind the distractions, the density, anything that can anchor you back into third dimensional reality. And yet, as you know, it's very, very difficult to go up a mountain and be alone in this day and age. Isn't that true? It's very, very difficult. Because why? Because that is you putting yourself into separation. Now, of course, it was part of the endeavour with what we were doing to be up on the mountain to eventually collapse within and find the all there. But this is not the time on the planet for that. This is not the time on the planet for you to be separating out so that you can go within yourself to find the all, to find God, to find the cosmos, to find all the answers. This is the time where you need to be seeking that out in the open with the people, with community. So separating out is not going to give you what you want. You're going to find what you want in your everyday experience. Amongst all the negativity, amongst all the debris, amongst all the chaos, that is where you find it all. Look to the dark places. We challenge you. Look to the chaos. Look at a scene that looks like complete disaster. And we challenge you to find the all in that. Find the humanity in that. Because if you're able to do this, you have really grasped what the allness is and what consciousness is, because it exists everywhere and in everything. You don't have to separate yourself out to find it. It's everywhere. You don't have to go up a mountain so that you can find God. This is exactly what you're experiencing this week. This is humanity's opportunity to find the all in the chaos. You're feeling it within your bodies, because even though a lot of your bodies are in chaos this week, yes, there's still a sense of calm in there. The all is still there. Even though the doctors may be telling you this is dreadful, even though your rhythms are being disrupted, even though things aren't functioning in the way in which you think they should be, there's still an aspect in there that says all is well, all is well. Because the all is well exists in there alongside the perceived chaos. And that's what this last week's been about for you. Finding the all amongst what you wish was not there. Do you see? Very well.